Welcome to SOS for Your Life, Emergency Wisdom for Everyday Life. I'm your host, Susie St. Angelo, and thanks for joining. Today, my guest is Becca Williams, a licensed marriage and couples therapist. She resides in California and works with clients in California. She has a group practice that provides high quality couples therapy, and she works with couples from dating to engagement to having kids, to even working through the process of divorce and doing it well. They also have an exciting opportunity to work one-on-one in a weekend couples retreat, which is just really fascinating. It's tailor-made. So stay tuned for a very interesting conversation. This podcast is for you if you know you need to change something. And maybe it's your career, maybe it's your health, maybe it's some other aspect of your life and you don't know how to do it. Or maybe you think you're not at the right stage or age and you just don't know. You just don't know what step to take. Or perhaps you're caught in that analysis paralysis, saying, okay, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I see you. I hear you. I was you. You can do this. Just keep listening to this podcast because I know there's just nuggets of good information, and one small step can make a big difference. It's just one small step. So feel free. You can find me on YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, Apple, and Amazon podcasts. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends about me. I think they'll find it an enjoyable podcast to listen to. Thanks so much. Take care. And now let's get into today's episode and meet my guest, Becca Williams. Hi, Becca.
Hi. So happy to be here with you.
Happy to have you on SOS for Your Life, Emergency Wisdom for Everyday Life. It's great to see you again. And I just thought we would start off by quickly just telling our viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself and how you got into therapy.
Yeah, so I am a couples therapist. I'm in Southern California, and I run Inland Empire Couples Counseling, where we are kind of the premier couples counseling practice in our area. We serve people all along the spectrum, from dating to premarital counseling to deciding to have kids to sometimes even helping people with the decision to divorce and to divorce well. And yeah, I just really love what I do.
So where did you go to college?
Oh, yeah. My master's degree is from Loma Linda University in marriage and family therapy. Yeah.
Very good. So what inspired you to become a couples therapist?
That's a great question. So I came into the field from a background in education. My original plan was that I wanted to work with teenagers in a middle or high school setting. And I had some experiences. I worked part-time at a treatment center for teen girls, and just had this real clarity that, like, if you really want to make a difference in the lives of young people, you have to, they have to have stable adults. There's only so much that you can do when the family life is chaotic. And, that experience combined with some others led me to shift my focus a little bit away from the education side and more into therapy. And still, in a lot of the work that we do here, even though we don't work directly with kids and not very many teens, we are always looking at the focus of how can we provide the most stable, healthy environments for kids. And that comes a lot from helping their parents know how to interact well. And, sometimes that means co-parent well, or, yeah.
Yes, definitely. That's great. You were able to see that clarity sooner than later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what common misconceptions do people have about couples therapy?
Oh, that's another great question. I think that some of the common misconceptions are one, that your therapist is going to essentially be a referee for your fights to tell you who's right and who's wrong. Um, Another common misconception might be that like all therapists are the same. And I'm really passionate about this idea that couples therapy is a specialty. And just like with a medical doctor, there are maybe some things that your general practitioner can give you some advice on and help with, and that's fine. And then there are some times where you really need to go to a specialist. And couples therapists are specialists. And so there's a lot of times we hear people who've been to couples therapy in the past, or they're like, oh, we tried that and it didn't really work. I'm like, okay, but did you see a couples therapist? Because you might have been working with somebody who could be really good at other things, but just doesn't have this particular specialty, because it is so much more than just saying, well, obviously this person is right and that would fix it. Because if we really get into it, if you think about any disagreement that you've had with your partner or partners, right, in your past relationships, if it were as easy as someone saying, well, you're right and you're wrong, then you could fix that on your own. You wouldn't need professional help, right? Like there really is this skill set in a couples therapist who can see not just the two individuals, but also the bigger picture of like patterns of interaction. And we do so much more than just ask you, how does that make you feel? Or say, well, you should listen to your partner more. Like we can really help you figure out where you're getting in your own way, or maybe where some of the kind of obstacles to connection happen that often by the time people come and see us in couples therapy, those things can be mutually reinforcing. So maybe there is something, if you and I are in a relationship, there's something that you say in me that like, ooh, I don't like the way that feels. And so I react a particular way, and my reaction triggers something in you. So then you pull back, and then your thing triggers my thing. And then we're, in this kind of spiral. And when you're in that, it's so hard to see, one, that it's happening, and two, to be able to find your own way out of it. And that's where a skilled couples therapist can just be tremendously helpful, because we can see things that you can't see when you're in it.
Well, and you must have a way of providing a safe space for people so that they don't feel defensive, or they may bring that defensiveness in maybe because they don't want to be there, or they're still angry about something. But you must have a way of creating a safe space for people to be able to talk openly and know that they're safe.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of what we will do in initial sessions too, is make sure that both partners know that we get them. And also that we really are here for them, and we're pro relationship, right? So I'm not on your side or your partner's side, but we're here to figure out how we can help this relationship, which hopefully includes both of you. But that's another thing that can kind of surprise people sometimes, especially if you've been in individual therapy and you've had the experience of you go to your therapist and they're just so gentle, and whatever you say, they say, oh, you're absolutely right. um, that doesn't work in couples therapy, because if I tell you you're absolutely right, your partner's over there going, well, what about me?
Yeah, you're telling me I'm absolutely wrong. Yeah, exactly. So I'm a health coach, and I went through training, later in life. I loved education later in life more so than as a young adult. But I really thrived in this IIN, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and it's a holistic approach. So it's the body, mind, and spirit. It really resonated with me and my own personal health journey. And as a result of burning out of a career, my health, my marriage, I had to rebuild everything. But what resonated right away with me and this education was something they call the circle of life. And it's primary foods and secondary foods. Secondary foods are the food on our plate. you know Primary foods are all those other things that encompass our health, and one of them is our relationships and our social life. The second one's our social life. But specifically, that's one reason why I wanted to have you on, because as I've started this business, I've also introduced an email weekly newsletter, and I look to see, how certain topics are trending on my platform. And I seem to get a lot of responses of people opening and responding to me about relationships. So I know that people are concerned about their relationships, not only their romantic, but they're platonic relationships. It's really important, and I think it's only been highlighted more as we've seen more isolation and loneliness, and either spending way too much time with maybe a spouse or a partner, or not enough time with a spouse or partner. I just find that it's a good topic for us to have, and so I just if you wanted to comment on that, do you see couples at different ages? Do you have like couples in their 20s to couples in their 70s? I mean,
Yeah. Yep. Whoop, the whole range. Yes.
really?
hmm I
What do
think
you?
currently in our practice right now, we have couples who are in in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and even
Mhm.
70s. Yeah.
That's really exciting to see that younger couples are going in to get therapy, and it's not a taboo.
Right. Right. Yeah, it is really hopeful. And we know from research that most, and this is, at least a decade old, the research now, but most people wait from the start of problems in the relationship, they wait on average 7 years before they seek help, right? And that is a long time for hurts to fester, for resentments to build, or just a long time for us to be living with things that are like not ideal. So yes, it's so hopeful for me when people come in early. And sometimes, people might think, well, it's not bad enough that we need to go to couples therapy. And I think, no, that's exactly when you should come, because you could come early and we can do, 4 sessions, 6 sessions, and you get a great benefit from it. And that prevents, years of hurts, where if you wait the 7 or 10 years and then come see us later, we may be looking at 6 to 12 months of weekly therapy because we've had this, stuff that's just festered for so long. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of the prevention and the holistic part too. Because when we think about the value that people's relationships have, this is how we feel like we get a core belonging need met. And if we don't know for certain that we are accepted and that we belong in a group, that filters through to all other areas of our life. And I think that's part of why people care so much about their relationships, and why it can feel like such a big deal when something is off in your primary relationships, whether that is your, romantic partner, or if you have, a close friendship, or things you used to be close with your immediate family and now there's some tension there. Like it really disrupts our sense of, safety and security in the world.
So one of the exercises I do with a client right off the bat is I send them the circle of life, which is, draw a circle, make 10 pie slices, and then each one is going to be one of the 10 topics. And the center of the pie is a 0. The edge of the pie is a 10, and rank each one of those areas of your life, and then you connect the dots and you see what areas are weak, or things that you didn't realize probably need some attention, that's maybe keeping you not at your happiest. And sometimes that may be how we talk about health coaching, and things that I can help with, either simple things that they can do to change, whether it's to bring more joy to their life. One person wanted to meditate more, so that was missing, so we worked on that. So it's a really good exercise. It's a visual exercise for them to go, huh. And I do it twice a year just to see where I fall online. So what do you think are or the most common conflicts that couples come in to see you about?
That's a great question too. We commonly see people come in for infidelity. That happens a fair amount. Well, I don't know actually that it happens a lot in relationships, but that is when that happens. That's often a time when people seek therapy, right? Um, Also, when people are when they come to some sort of conflict they can't get out of. So maybe that's something like one person wants to have a child and the other one doesn't, and they just are like gridlocked and stuck, and they don't see any way around this. That's another time when people will come to therapy. we also get people who are not sure whether they want to stay in their relationship or not. Like things are bad enough and they've kind of tried on their own and they're not quite ready to say, yes, I want to get divorced, but like we need to try this. There still is enough hope that maybe things could be fixed. And then there's kind of another group of people that come to therapy when things are just off, right? They know that it's not so bad yet, but I can see if we keep going in this trend, we might be in that place where we don't want to be together anymore. And that's really not what we want.
Mm-hmm. So, without obviously naming names or being too terribly specific, can you share some success stories of people who came to see you?
Yeah. I think what I would want to share. I wasn't prepared to talk about success stories. What a fun question.
Well, we can come back to that if you want to. So, what role does communication play in resolving conflicts?
Communication is.
And how can couples improve it? I know we talked about communication and connection, and
yes,
I'd like to expand on that some more.
Yeah. So I was telling you before that it's sort of a joke amongst couples therapists that everybody comes in saying they want communication. This is what we need help with, is our communication. And, the couples therapist is like, okay, but what's really going on? Because people are communicating a lot. They're sending all sorts of messages. Often the partner is picking up what the other person is sending, and we don't like what's being shared, or we're communicating, but we're not connecting. What most people want when they say they're having communication problems is like, we don't feel close. And maybe that's because there are some arguments or disagreements between us, or there's some conflict that's unresolved, or we're, sort of speaking different languages, so to speak, but it's not really about the communication. It's about, we want to feel closer. I want to feel safe. I want to know that my partner has my back and that I can kind of let down my guard here. That's really what most people are looking for. And yes, sometimes we do work with people around like, ooh, you need to soften the way that you ask for your need to be met, right? Or let's shift around. Certainly we are allowed to have complaints about our partners. We can ask for them to make changes. And there is some, yes, that is a thing, that there's something we can do in adjusting our communication so that can be received better. But even those things, at the core of it, it's about people want to feel connected. They want to know that they are loved. They want to know that they are desired, that they matter to their partner. Right?
And I think sometimes it's hard to be vulnerable with people that you don't feel safe around, or there's something there that sent up a wall and a block. But gosh, you said something that made me want to ask about that. Oh, I know what it was. Learning. Do you ask couples about how they learn, their style of learning? I say that only because my health coach, when I hired one, said, "Okay, Susie, how do you learn? Do you like to learn?" I go, "Oh yeah, you can send me articles, you can send me videos. I can do stuff on my own. I'm a self-starter, no worries." Well, that was like the best thing she could hear, because she was feeding me stuff left and right that I really absorbed and I took to heart. But are you practicing that with your clients, or?
Yeah, so we're always adapting to what the clients need. And it is part of our practice here that at the end of every single session, we talk to them about like, what was helpful today? What are you taking away? Some people really like homework. Some people don't like homework. Some people like different styles of homework. And so we're always like tailoring, because at the end of the day, I could devise a system that works really well for me, but if it doesn't serve any of my clients, there is no point. So we need to develop things that really work for our clients. And some people want books. I will have had people tell me, don't even suggest a book. I won't read it. And like, okay, well, let's talk about how do you want to learn things? Because I can give you worksheets. I can give you exercises. I can recommend podcasts. We can just do all of our learning here in the sessions together. And that's fine. You probably will need more of them than if you can, want to do learning outside, but that's, totally okay. Because I really value that at the end of the day, we are meeting people's needs and helping them get what they want.
Well, I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that you are. It's a modern day approach, and not one size fits all. I firmly believe that what worked for me might not work for other people. You just have to find out what suits them. So I'm not in a relationship. However, I am around people who are in some unhealthy relationships, and it affects me because I am a sensitive soul, or at least I pick up other people's energy. And so, what would you tell someone? What would you tell me, or what would you tell someone who has witnessed to some unhealthy or some dysfunctional relationships, and on how to do you approach as the caring person? Do you approach someone, or do you not? Um,
So, like, if you see that your friend is in a relationship with some unhealthy dynamics, should you say something to them? Hmm. I probably would, but I would do it kindly and carefully. Right? Um, and with love and also with lots of curiosity. Because there is this maybe difference between what you see and the lens that you are putting onto what your friend is reporting and maybe how they experience it. So I may come at a situation like that just with some curious questions like, hey, I noticed this. How does that feel for you? Or even, I noticed this thing happen, or you have this continual complaint to me about your partner. And I wonder, do you want me to help you with that? Or is it enough to just like discharge that that's going on? Because I care about you, I have some concerns, but I don't know if you're open to that feedback. Like really giving the other person a lot of space to consider. Because if your friend is going to make any changes in their life, it won't be because you came in and said, that's not healthy, you should break up with your partner. No one ever broke up with their partner because of that approach, right? But we come to a point where we are ready to make change when we feel cared about, um, and when we have a sense of like self esteem, I think, but also self respect of like, I deserve better than this. And so if we can help build our friends up to have that sense of like, you deserve better, maybe what happens is our friend then goes to their partner and is someone who advocates for change. Says, hey, this isn't working for me. Can we go to couples therapy? Right? This isn't working for me. Could you make some changes? And maybe the partner goes, oh, thanks for saying something. And change can happen and that's great. Or maybe that is the catalyst of your friend deciding to end a relationship. But either way, it comes from them being in a place where they are believing that they deserve something different. So I think for you to be the supportive friend, all you're trying to do is like move your friend towards, you love them, they are worthy, you want good things for them. And that's just what good friends do anyway.
so thank you for validating what I've said to someone about that, because that's exactly what I did. However, I said also, I love you, I support you, you deserve better than this. But you're also, if I understand correctly, what you're saying too is to ask open-ended questions that get the friend or the family member to talk, and know that you're doing this out of care and concern for them. It's not that you dislike that other person. It's that you have this care for them, that you're noticing this. And truthfully, some of the behavior can also be a trigger for let's say me or for that friend, that you're going, wow, this feels kind of weird for me. Are you feeling that? Yeah, that's good. Well, good advice. I appreciate that. That did just happen. So thank you for validating that. Um, so, what advice do you have for couples facing major life transitions? Such as either having kids or moving to another state, or even retirement can really throw off the dynamics of a couple. I know I threw a lot at you, so don't.
Yeah. So first I would say in a major life transition is like it is okay if for a little while you're just getting through, right? The move is chaotic. There's just lots of logistics to figure out with the retirement or whatever. Like, it's okay if for a while we are just like partners in this project management thing that we got to manage the transition. Like, that is fine. And you may also want to take some time to sit to really invest in the relationship and to have some new conversations about what we want. When we first get together, we have lots of conversations about, like, what do we want for the next 5 years? Do you want kids? Where are we going to live? Are we going to school? Like, there's lots of conversations that happen when we first get together. And then we go through these big life transitions, and those are places where we get to have those conversations again. What do we want now for this next chunk of our life? There's this framework I really love in working through difficult things where you, each person will answer these questions. You talk about the what, like, this is what I see the problem is. These are my thoughts about it, like my assumptions, my opinions. These are my feelings. People often get thoughts and feelings confused, right? So someone might say, well, I feel like we should have a kid. Like, no, your thought is you want a kid. Your feeling might be fear. Your feeling might be excitement. But feelings are usually, like 1 or 2 words, like real and something you feel in your body. Yes. Yes. And then this is the part that I love. We go through wants. What do I want for myself in this transition? And then what do I want for you? Not from you, but for you. And then what do I want for us? And that can be really helpful to have people find where their common ground is. And also often to see that maybe what I want for me and what you want for you don't have to be, like, they're not mutually exclusive. And breaking out of those places where we can be stuck, it also is so helpful to be able to articulate that we want good things for each other. Not just, I want you to change in this way, but like, I want you to be happy. I want you to have what you want.
Yes. And what's interesting about that? I also think that I was a banker in a previous life that caused the burnout. It was part of my burnout. But so I started this little financial services business, I called it my soft landing, until I figured out what I really wanted to do. But I was helping people pay bills, usually couples, older couples who didn't have family members close by, automating anything, helping them with budgets if they needed them. And I had some young people too, which was fun to be around some younger people, because really that age needs budgeting and things, probably a little more education than an older couple. But I had this one couple who, well-educated wife, who found out she had early stages of dementia, and they were going across the world on the QE2 for an around the world cruise. Well, what happened, before they took off, they had what she calls her board of directors, and I've taken this since. It's a group of people that are looking out for their best interest. When she found out she had early onset, she got a power of attorney, she updated her will, she did her trust, and she's married to this gentleman too, and he was a part of it. He kind of just went along. He was very agreeable, because she was really the one taking charge of this, But she had a meeting with me, her trust officer, her banker, her sister, anyone who was associated with their life. And it was so wonderful that everybody was there for them to help make things in that transition smooth. Not only that they were going to be gone for a long time on this trip, but when they came back, things could be different. And in fact, her dementia only got worse because she was always in a new city on the boat. The surroundings weren't familiar, so she came back a little more advanced. But I say that because sometimes even financial planners can be the catalyst for actually conversations with a family therapist, couples therapist, because they go through those questions as, what are you looking at in terms of your retirement, your life transition?
Right. And often when we have couples who come in to see us with financial issues, it's the relationship problem that we help with isn't really about the money, because that's what you go to a financial planner for, right? It's about all of the meaning that we attach to that. That because there's so much that's tied up in our financial stuff. It's worth, it's how we care. It's like if one person, has a story about, I need to be able to spend because what's life worth if you can't spend what you have? And that person is partnered with someone who's like, but we have to save. It's not really about the amount that's in the bank account. It's what that means to each one of them. And we can be real creative in helping people find ways that they can honor where each partner is coming from, and accommodate around the difference. So we're not expecting them to fundamentally change all of these things that made you who you are, but is there a way that we can work that we both get to show up and really love each other well?
And you can be opposites and attract. You can be opposite and you counterbalance each other. So when someone doesn't think they deserve to spend on themselves, another partner may say, "But honey, you've earned it, and you've done so well. Celebrate." And there's all that. And I truly believe, and I haven't tapped into it, but I'd like to explore it more this year, is the correlation between money and your health, because I think there's a huge correlation between that, and I don't know where that's going, but I'm just throwing that out to you. Maybe we could collaborate or at least have conversations about that, because I'm sure you do that. What are some daily habits that can strengthen a relationship?
I think we need daily ways that we connect and that we show up for each other. And that can look really different depending on the couple, but like some way that on a very regular basis, hopefully daily, we each get to have sort of a soft place to land, right? That like at the end of the day, no matter what else happens, I come home and I know that I'm safe with you. And sometimes couples have different schedules, and so that isn't actually the end of the day. It's the morning when someone's getting off the night shift or whatever, right? But we have some regular time where we get to connect, even if it's just like 5 minutes. Some people are really busy and that's all that you get, but like that little way that we get to take off all of our other burdens and just be together. And I said, connection and then showing up for each other. And again, this can look so different. For some people, that is a more traditional, like, I make food for you, and that is how I show up for you, right? But it could also be other things of, these more intangibles that I will always have your back in this particular way, or you can complain to me, you can cry to me, you can, whatever the thing is that I know I can rely on you. And yeah, I know for some couples that is like the one person always does bedtime with the kids because the other one is fried by the end of the night, or someone who always makes the coffee, or somebody else who always cleans the hair out of the bathroom drain because it makes the other one gag, right? Like there's all these little things that doesn't seem like that is the most romantic thing in the world. And yet it is these little things that build day after day that are what make a life and what build that sense of like strength and connection in the relationship.
So, what is the role of humor in relationships? Do you ever talk about humor in counseling?
Yes, I laugh a lot. And I laugh and joke with my clients all the time. Never at them at their expense, but we laugh all the time. And part of that for me is just kind of life philosophy. Like there is so much that is hard. There is so much that is heartbreaking and that is serious. But I think we have to find ways that we laugh to get through the rest, to balance it all out, right? And some of my favorite ways to introduce humor with couples is around those things where they get really stuck. Like I was talking about, we don't try to change each other. We just like accommodate. And if we can infuse those things with humor, right? That's like, oh, that was just me doing my thing again that I always do to you. I'm really sorry, right? We can own it. We can give it a silly name. We can do, whatever we need to that brings a little bit of levity, I think is super important.
Well, I'm a firm believer in humor, and my partner, whoever it would be, would have to have a good sense of humor because I have a good sense of humor, and life's too short. And if I can poke fun at me, then I know that my self esteem is high enough that when they poke fun of me, that I'm not gonna break, and you know,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can we can we can laugh about things without taking them a little too seriously. So I was just curious if you use humor in your practice, and I'm glad to see that you do.
Oh, all the time. Yes.
Yeah. So what have you learned about relationships through your work that surprised you?
Um, what has surprised me? I absolutely love with my couples. I wouldn't say it surprised me in a way that like I didn't think this was true, and yet it delights me every time I see it. Right? That there are um, these ways that when we can get past somebody's defenses, when we can get like behind the prickly kind of I push you away or I'm angry about this one particular thing or whatever. Like when we can get past that to the tenderness underneath, it just like surprises and delights me every time that I see a partner soften towards them. Like previously they had been in something tense, and then there's this little moment where like the mask comes down, the guard goes down, and I see people. It's the subtle little things, like someone reaches for the other person and grabs their hand.
I was just going to say that. I could see that. I mean, as you were talking about, I was visualizing it.
You can feel it, right? This little bit of like, oh, because I think we get through all the defenses, and there's this remembering of like, this is the person that I love, right? And whatever else is going on 10 minutes ago, or the argument that we had last week, like right now, I see you as a human, the human that I love and I care about you. And so it's the little way that someone, moves the hair off of their face, or puts an arm on the shoulder, kind of when things are tender, that just, like I said, it surprises me, not that I don't expect it, but it just delights me every time I see it.
Yeah, because there's something there.
This is what we're here for, is to find those and strengthen those moments of connection with each other. Because when that is strong, and I feel solid that you know and love me, and I know I love you and know you well, then when we have the things come up about who's taking the sick day to stay home with the kid, it's really your turn. It's your turn because I did it the last 4 times. Or we have the argument about the dishes or the laundry or where we're going on vacation or anything. Like we're able to weather those things so much better because we have this strength of connection and love between the two of us, which is like bringing back full circle. That's why it's not about the communication, it's about the connection.
You're right. Do you ever get emotional?
Oh, of course.
I appreciate that too. I appreciate you saying that.
Because I really believe like it's a human to human connection. Like how can I not, when I have people sitting here on this couch, right? And they are having a moment, like I'm not a robot. Of course I'm going to feel that with them.
Well, like I've been through couples therapy, and I've had therapists that didn't show emotion, were pretty stoic, and
Yeah.
I that's a tough one, because I would want some reaction.
Yeah.
To, are you there? Are you there?
Like,
Yeah.
I'm having this experience over here and you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're just totally hands off. But
Yeah.
so, how do you take care of your own mental, um, emotional well-being? How do you do that on your own? What do you do do you need to recharge your batteries after a session?
Yeah. Yeah. Part of what I do is I tend to stack my sessions. So I kind of go into therapist mode and I like to see all my clients on the same day, right? And then I can have a day afterwards where I recover from all that emotional outpouring that I did. I have really wonderful friends in my life. I will say like self-care is a part of this job. Like I have to eat well. I have to move my body regularly, and not in a weight loss kind of way, just in like, I really need to care well for myself and my body, make sure I'm sleeping well, because my work is depleting. And I think there's a lot of boundary work that goes into becoming a good therapist as well. That like in a session, I can join with people with empathy, but then I also recognize that at the end of the day, this is their life. And I can't make their decisions for them, right? I might want them to do something. I might encourage them to like, hey, could you let go of that resentment so that you could connect in this way, right? But I don't make those choices. They have to make their own choices. And so I think staying solid in that is part of what helps me take care of myself, so that I don't go home then and stew on, well, what are they going to do about this? Or I failed because they didn't make the choices that I wanted to. It's like, no, that's not, I make my choices for my life and they make their choices for their life.
I became a breathwork facilitator last year to help people with, some of it can be trauma that's been trapped down again, like peeling back an onion. But what we were trained and what I've noticed about me too is that I can't do back to back for me because I need to go and either walk around the block or wash my hands or watch TV or just get out of that situation for a few minutes before I step back in. Now might be 10 minutes and I can step back in, but I got to break that energy because it's such a powerful energy to be in. Yeah. Something else I thought about, and this goes back to our earlier conversation about seeing couples from their 20s to their 70s. Is there really much difference between someone in their 20s and someone in their 70s, when you're dealing with them? I mean, situationally, they may have some of the same issues.
Like yes and no, right? Like at the end of the day, we are all human and we have the same kind of core basic human needs. There are younger people who may be a little more still like figuring things out. And sometimes the therapists who work for me will come in and like explain something that's happening with a couple. And with a little bit of frustration, I'll be like, wait, how old are they? Oh, they're 25 and 26. I'm like, oh, you guys, they just have never learned this before. And it's like my employees go, oh yeah, of course. Oh, okay. And it like shifts, right? And the people that are a little bit older, sometimes we have a lot more stuff there's more like existential questions as they're considering end of life and retirement things, and a lot more regret of like, well, if we broke up now, what would that even look like? And is it financially feasible? And like, there's some of those things that are different and shift throughout the lifespan. But the same core needs are still there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So you said in your bio that you also do couples retreats, and I wondered if you can speak to that. And do people really love doing those retreats? I mean, with other couples, I mean, and you know,
Yeah. So we actually at our office do personalized retreats. So it is an experience where maybe instead of doing weekly couples therapy sessions, if that just doesn't work for you because of schedules, we have some people who come to see us from out of state, like they can't fly to California every week. So like come for a weekend and we'll work with you. Um, or sometimes the nature of the work like doesn't lend itself well to like, well, let's talk for an hour and then we'll pick it up again for an hour next week. Like sometimes people really want and need to have more time. And so we have this retreat offering where it will be just one couple comes in and they can work either with one or two therapists, depending on their preference. And we build a whole 2-day plan just for that couple, where they get lots and lots of support. We have the opportunity that we can go really deep with them, that they can have, each one-on-one time with their separate therapists. We also build in an enriching activity depending on what the couple needs. And so sometimes that is something like we will send people to go do a partner yoga class where they have to pay really close, like it's all about being attuned to the partner. and listening to what they want and listen, right? So we will like set up activities like that. And there's other times where couples are like in a lot of distress and that much intimacy wouldn't feel nice to them. And so we will send them each for a separate massage, right? Like we will learn the couple and create a little program just for them.
Oh, I like that. I had a total different image that it was multiple couples. And I was thinking, wow, that's really brave to go and, do that. And years ago, I know that that happened and people would do that. But I like the fact that you have personalized one couple experiences, kind of like going to a spa for the weekend, and just hitting it hard for the whole weekend. So,
Yes. And we have had couples come in to do the retreat with that big question of like, we don't know if we can stay together. And like, okay, cool, let's dive in. And we're going to spend the whole weekend exploring that question. And we have had other people come in for retreats where it was like, we love each other and we're just so disconnected. And we don't know how to find each other again. And this going an hour a week isn't working. So like, cool, we will build a whole program just for them to help them go like slow down enough that they can deeply connect again. Yeah, it's really beautiful. And we get great feedback from those experiences. Yeah, people really like them.
that's great. I think that's wonderful. So, my question to you is this: what is your SOS? What are those? What's a simple step or two besides reaching out and contacting you? What's a simple step or two for people who are listening or watching that they can take away and maybe practice with their partner or their spouse?
So this is my favorite tip. And it goes for couple relationships, like romantic relationships, as well as with kids and coworkers and anybody else. Ask for what you want and not for what you don't want. And lots of times when we are all overwhelmed, overstimulated, overbooked, something happens that doesn't quite work for us. And we just go, no, not that. No, don't do that. I didn't like that. And it's lots of like no and pushing away. And I totally get how, I get there sometimes too. Right? My children like, no, do this different. But if we can stop and get really clear on like, what is it that I actually want in the situation? And then ask for that, your relationships will be so much smoother. So this is the difference between your partner's maybe on their phone and distracted all the time. And you say to them, can you please put your phone down? I wish that you paid attention to me. Come on, this matters. That's it. I don't want you to be on your phone. Put it down. Or I could get really clear. What is it that I want? I want your attention. I want to know that I matter. Oh, so maybe without the criticism of my partner, I can just say, hey, I miss you. And I wonder if we could spend 10 minutes a day without our phones, just because I miss being with you and I want to know that I matter to you. And what partner is not going to be like, okay, yes, sounds great, right? Like we can avoid so much potential conflict if we can first take ownership for what we actually want and ask for it in positive terms. And this goes for professional things too. Maybe I've got an employee who's turning things in for me and I say, no, not like that. Well, what if I stop and say, okay, what is it that I really need? And then I can go to my employee and say, you know what? I love that you're doing this work. Could you please turn that into me on Wednesdays so that I have time to review it before the thing goes in on Friday? That would help. The employee just goes, oh, okay, cool. That's so easy, right? Or I tell my kid, go put this thing away. They don't know what to do. Don't leave your shoes out here. Okay, or I could say, will you please put your shoes in the closet? So much less conflict, so much smoother. And I love that this approach also presumes goodwill in the other person. Of course, my partner, my coworker, my child, my friend, like, of course they value the relationship and will want to do the things that like please me, that make it good for everybody. And I can set myself up for that if I ask for what I want instead of just a whole list of what I don't want.
Love that. I was going to ask you to repeat it, but you just did, and it's beautiful. And as I was listening to you, I was thinking, gosh, I can practice that right away with some family members and some friends, and Actually, I did that when I moved back to my home state. And I decided people, how they say, oh, if you need any help, oh, I can come over and I was like, oh, I'm going to take them up on it this time. And so I did. I asked one friend the first night I was there, could you bring dinner in? I asked another friend, you're great at organizing. Could you help me organize the kitchen? That was day two. The third day I
Love
had
that.
family members. I said, could you bring dinner in? Because I don't think I will have gotten to the grocery store. And I asked for it and they delivered and it was beautiful and they got to be a part of my return. It was just a win-win.
Yes. And
And
this
I've never
lovely
done that.
way. Yes, this lovely way that then people get to show up for you.
That's right. And I never did that before, Becca. And what it told me was people want to do things for you. They really do. You just have to ask for what you need, for what you want. And in this case, I'd just been on a trip and I was telling them that I had asked for this, and these couples were sitting with me, and they said, "We have never thought to do that." I said, "You might try it. You might be surprised what they do." Because I did it for my dad when he was coming back from Florida, and they didn't have anything in their grocery or in their refrigerator. So I went to the grocery and just got something for breakfast and something for lunch, and that they could figure it out. But they had it waiting for them, and it was just something that they didn't have to worry about. So, so I love this.
Or even with social things, as we're talking, I'm thinking about times that, I some friends and I wanted to celebrate a mutual friend's birthday. And like, oh, what do you want? What do you want? And my friend was like, actually, I don't want to go out. That sounds stressful. Can we just stay in? And so we all came over in our pajamas and had like cheese and crackers and sat on the couch. And it was perfect. And it came because the birthday person spoke up and said, well, I really don't want to go out to a restaurant. That's not what I want.
Yeah. And it was more memorable and probably more fun, and everybody could lower their guard, and it's probably cheaper too. So, is there anything that you'd like to add that I didn't ask? Anything you want to share with everyone?
Um, no, this was a lovely conversation.
It was a lovely conversation. I could continue on and on, but
I know, I think you're talking to you for a while.
I know we've been talking a while. So Becca, where can people find you?
Yeah, the best place to find out about me and my practice is at our website. We're Inland Empire Couples Counseling. The website is iecouplescounseling.com. I am also on Instagram at Rebecca Relationship Expert. And we have opportunities, like I mentioned, to do the retreats. We work with couples in the state of California. And I also offer some one-off consultations if people want to work just with me. And that's all available on the website.
So are you saying people can't work with you unless they're in California? Is that?
For therapy clients, we are only licensed to see people in California. But I do some professional consultation on couples who are deciding to get divorced or not. I do some business coaching. I do some leadership coaching stuff. Or even if you just wanted like a one time, like, hey, I want to talk through a thing with you, I'm available for that. But for an extended, like you want to do couples therapy, you would either have to be in California or come visit us in California.
Hey, got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I'm glad I asked that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, it has been a lovely conversation. I'm so thrilled that you could come on to SOS for Your Life, Emergency Wisdom for Everyday Life. And I say this to every guest, and I truly mean it. But I do hope our paths cross again. And I know I wish you all the best as a therapist. I can see why people would enjoy coming to you, especially during a difficult time in their life or at a time when they know that they can change things at an early stage. So thank you, Becca, for coming on.
Thank you so much, Susie. It was a pleasure.
Well, friends, sadly, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for joining SOS for Your Life, Emergency Wisdom for Everyday Life. And thank you, Becca, for coming on to this podcast. This was a great conversation about couples therapy. It's not something to fear. It's not something stigmatizing. It is just really an opportunity for people to work through an issue, work through how to navigate relationships. It's a lot about connection, and I think you'll be able to get a tip or two, even on a relationship, maybe that's just platonic. So I hope you will stay with this podcast and send me a review or a question you might have, and that question may be used in a future episode. Just remember, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you have any questions or interest in coaching or in breath work, reach out to me. If you'd like to be added to my email newsletter, feel free to send me your email address and I'll add you. Until next time, take care and I'll see you soon.